Hey everyone, Once Bitten with another Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. So we're at ScarabCon 2013, this is my Game 4, my Minotaur-themed Beastmen army versus another High Elf army. It's the second time I've played High Elves in this tournament, which is interesting because I never seem to play High Elves anymore. So this is a dawn attack scenario. You'll notice there's a poker chip in the middle of the table. That is a token that will scatter d6 inches for 3 or 4 turns, and then it will settle somewhere, and the unit, the closest unit to it, I think it was within 3 inches or something like that, gets 300 victory points. And I think you also get 100 victory points for having a unit in the enemy's deployment zone. But other than that, it's just a straight up game. But again, this was dawn attack, so if you see units placed in weird places, a lot of times that's because there was no choice about where to place them. So I rolled 3 chariots on my far left flank, which at first I was thinking, that isn't really optimal because they're kind of far away from everything and they can't really march. But my opponent pointed out that sometimes that's the best thing because they just slowly move their way to the center and they play an important part later in the game. So we're just going to run with that. Let's see, I have Minotaurs with my Doom Bull on the left. And this is the game, I don't know if I mentioned this in previous battle reports, but when I made this list, I really made a mistake. My normal build for my Doom Bull includes the other Trickster Shard, which means your opponent has to reroll successful ward saves if they're in base-to-base contact with the Doom Bull. And against Phoenix Guard, that is just fantastic. Well, for some reason in this list, instead of that, I put in the Iron Curse icon. And I've never done that before. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was really kicking myself at this stage of this game about that. Anyway, 4 chariots and another Minotaur unit with my Gore Bull, Battle Standard Bearer. And then just to the right of him is my Shaman. So in the other corner, there's a large unit of Phoenix Guard with this Battle Standard Bearer. I don't remember his build, and there's really a reason for it, but this is a closed list tourney, and this is the one opponent that I did not get a list from. And so, anyway, there's BSB with Phoenix Guard, unit of 20 White Lions with his Mage. The Mage is a level 4, she's a level 4 Lore of Life. And I'll tell you, I don't know what she has at this point of the game, and so I'll tell you what she has when I found it out during the game. There's 2 units of 10 archers, and then next to the far unit of archers is a unit of spear elves with his general. And this is not a lord, this is only a noble, and he says he has him in his list because he doesn't like his spellcaster to be the general, so he just threw this noble in here so he had somebody else for that slot. So Beastmen went turn 1, so I move up, as you can see. So my plan here is similar to the other High Elf game I had, and that is my Minotaurs are great against everything he has on the table except for his 2 special units. The Phoenix Guard and the White Lions will chew up my Minotaurs. And so the Minotaurs on the right, I'm trying to make it so that they can't be charged by his White Lions or his Phoenix Guard. But I would be very, very willing to get a long charge off on his archers. So anyway, so the Minotaurs on the left, I'm moving up pretty aggressively because they're nice and far away from everything else. I also like that they're in the woods and thus get a cover save from that shooting. And what I want to do is get a few chariots into the White Lions and the Phoenix Guard to soften them up, and after that, then I am happy to put my Minotaurs in there. So I'm hiding my spellcaster. He's a level 2 beast, so he needs to be close enough to the action to get Weissens off. But other than that, I need to keep him safe from that shooting. And the chariots on the left, my initial thought was just to pull this one chariot over the way you see it, and the other 2 chariots to go around the woods. It's going to take them all day in game to get around and get anywhere close to the action. High Elf turn 1, he moves like that. We're both kind of using that building to block line of sight and block charges. But anyway, you see how he's moving there. Beastman turn 2. So I move my Doom Bull's unit up as far as I can. So I'm thinking, you are welcome to charge me with your Spear Elves. You're not going to charge me with your archers, and your Phoenix Guard and White Lions are too far away. So my thinking there is, I don't want him to be able to escape my charge, and so the Spear Elves can't. They can't reform and get out of my line of sight. So they might as well charge me, and that's just going to rev up that unit. Otherwise, I want I think I backed up my Gore Bull's unit because I don't want them charged by the White Lions or anybody else. And I'm moving up my chariots because, again, I want those charges to weaken his units. So we go to High Elf turn 2. Now, if you notice, I'm not saying much about magic or shooting. I have no shooting. My magic is so limited that it's very easy for him to stop pretty much everything, or I get one spell off. But keep in mind, too, like my spellcaster is way on the right, and so he can't even get Weissens off on the Doom Bulls unit. So there's limited efficacy, if you will. And his level 4 Lore of Life, if I don't have a picture of it, means it was nothing of significance. So anyway, he goes ahead and charges the Spear Elves into my Minotaurs, which may seem like it's not a brilliant move, but he really had no choice. He had nowhere to go with those Elves, and if he charges me here and he breaks from combat, at least he has a chance to get away, where if I charge him, he's going to run off the board. So I don't know what he was thinking, but what I'm thinking is I'm going to win that eventually. But what I need to not have happen is to him to stick this turn, and then I win it on my turn and have to overrun d6 inches, and I might be set up for a flank charge by those White Lions, and that would be very, very bad. So a little bit nervous there. You see he's brought his Phoenix Guard up, so really set up for some nice counter charges there. I like it because my chariots are here, so it seems like it's not too far for me to get some charges off and weaken the units like I want to. So there's that. During shooting, puts a couple wounds on my Gore Bull BSB's unit, and after combat, yeah, I want you to appreciate how small that Spear Elf unit is. we absolutely ripped into them. Absolutely ripped into them. They weren't steadfast. I assumed they would be steadfast. My opponent pointed out that they weren't anymore. Just, oh my gosh. Yeah, and he lined it up so I didn't have to allocate attacks on his general. My Doom Bull was able just to go against the unit, and yeah, tore him up. Of course, we couldn't catch him, but that was his turn. And it's always awful when you charge someone, lose on your turn, because then they can charge you again. So after seeing that, I think he was pretty certain that he'd be steadfast, and so was I, to be honest with you. So in hindsight, I guess it might have been better for him just to march up and still allow me to charge him, but hindsight's 20/20. So anyway, there's yeah, that's nice. So on my turn, that means I can charge them. They'll either run off the table, in which case I'll redirect it to his archers, or they won't, and I should be able to catch them. And if I catch them, I can then test to reform, because that's not a combat, with overrun and stuff like that. And that would be ideal for him not to go off the table, for me to catch him, pass a leadership test, reform, and then face down his lines. So we go to Beastmen turn 3. It doesn't quite happen like that. I charge them, they run all the way off the table, so I go ahead and redirect into his archers. And my only fear here is that the Phoenix Guard can see my Doom Bulls unit. Now, so I charge 3 chariots into his White Lions, and my thinking is, 1, that should really weaken the White Lion unit. 2, I need at least 1 chariot to stick around and block the Phoenix Guard from being able to see my my Doom Bulls unit, because my Doom Bull is going to crush those archers. I'm going to overrun. It's going to take me a 4 or better to get off the board, and so if I roll a 1, 2, or 3, his Phoenix Guard can be set up for a rear charge in my Doom Bulls unit, and that would be very, very bad. So otherwise, I'm keeping my Gore Bulls unit back because I want a reroll there for the chariots, but for the most part, I don't want anybody charging them. And as it is now, the Phoenix Guard could actually come against them too if the chariots aren't there. So there's that charge. You can always tell people that have played Warhammer for several editions, because they still put if you beat a unit, they still give you the standard bearer and put them behind your unit. That's kind of cool. There's that. White Lions are going to tear up my chariots. I'm going to lose combat, I know. I have 3d6 impact hits at strength 5. I really need to kill some White Lions. And it looks like that. So really everything went wrong that could go wrong. I did 7 wounds on the White Lions through impact hits, which is about odds. I can't complain too much about that. He kills 2 of them outright, and the 1 remaining breaks. And so then my Minotaurs tear through the archers, overrun 1 inch. So now his Phoenix Guard can see me, and I think they need a 7 to catch me. And I'm frenzied, so I can't flee, and I wouldn't flee anyway because I'd go off the board. If they catch me, there's just no way I'm going to be able to... there's no way I'm going to be able to overcome a charge, a rear flank, 3 ranks, and 2 banners. There's just no way. So, oh, that makes me sick. If he rolls a 7 or better, he's got it. So, we go to High Elf turn 3. His White Lions charge the 1 chariot to push out of the way, and they redirect it to my Gorbel unit, and I really, really didn't see that coming because he just seemed so far away. And now during my magic phase, I put the Savage Beast of Horus off on my Battle Standard Bearer. I did it just because I thought that would be the one thing that would maybe keep him from making that charge, and he did it anyway. So I don't know how to feel about this. He only has 13 guys there. He has his mage, and then he has 12 White Lions. So I think it is, they get to reroll to hit. They're high strength. They're going to really hurt me, but they're also pretty fragile. I'm not going to have enough guys left that I should be able to hurt him too. So I'm really actually kind of curious how this is going to go. His Phoenix Guard charged my Doom Bulls unit. Again, I think they needed a 7, and they failed it. Oh, thank goodness. Because that was about to be the game right there. So there's that combat. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That's making me nervous. And there's the failed charge. Oh, I'm not out of the woods yet because I can reform. I still don't want to take that charge. And I'm kicking myself for not having the other Trickster Shard. So after combat, this is what I found out the mage had. The mage issues a challenge. I have to accept it. I don't have to accept it with anybody, but I accept it with my Battle Standard Bearer. And then he reveals that his mage has the robes that make her ethereal, and then an item that makes any magic weapon mundane. So I can't hurt her. I can't do any wounds to her with my Gorbel. He chops up. He does. I think I counted it up, and he did 7 wounds to me, I think. And then I went back and did, 4 or 5. And when all said and done, he won combat. I wasn't steadfast. I broke, which killed my Standard Bearer and my Battle Standard Bearer. And he didn't catch my remaining 2 Minotaurs. But that was really, really painful. The only thing I've going for me now is I have a chariot to the left of this picture that is an easy charge reach of the White Lions. I think I need an 8 or 9, and that's with Swift Stride. And if I did that, I'm certainly going to win combat, and he's going to be Stubborn 8. And then if he fails a Stubborn 8, I've got all those points. So that's, that might, exchange a Gorbel for the unit of White Lions and a Spellcaster would definitely be worth it. So we go to Beastmen turn 4. I charged the chariot the way I said, and he fled. And it really surprised me, but he did. Now my Spellcaster on the right, he failed his panic test when my Gorbul's unit got beaten in combat, and he ran. And on this turn, he rallied. And when I rallied him, I had him face that White Line unit. And my thinking is, if on the off chance they don't rally, he can charge them on my next turn and push them off the board. So here's hoping. If you look up at the very top, I just take my Doom Bull unit and reform so that if his Phoenix Guard come in, at least I have just a ton of attacks. But to be honest with you, if they come in, I'm going to lose. I can't stand up to that. And I think he might overappreciate Minotaurs, but they're toughness 4, and against toughness 4, they have no armor save. He's going to come in, be re-rolling to hit. He's going to do enough wounds, and his 4 up ward save is going to save enough wounds. Yeah. And the only thing I would have going for me there is I'd probably be able to kill his Battle Standard Bearer, but it's just not going to matter. I think he wins that easily. So here's that. There's that. And yeah, those are just my chariots. And we go to High Elf turn 4, and he doesn't rally. Oh, yes. So my Shaman can still see them. They're easily within his charge reach. He's going to declare a charge on my turn, and they don't need much. I think a 6 puts them off the board, maybe even a 5. I mean, you can see it as well as I can. They are not far from the edge of the board. That might net me the game right there. And over here, he backs his Phoenix Guard up. I think he is giving way too much credit to the Minotaurs. If I had the other Trickster Shard, I would be moving my Doom Bull out of the Minotaur unit right in their face, and I would risk that. They're going to have static combat res of 3 ranks and 2 banners. Even with that, I would risk it if I had the other Trickster Shard. But as it is, Yeah, so he's backing away from me, and I really appreciate it. So we go to Beastman turn 5. I move, as you can see. I had a chariot, if you look at the very top, charge an archer unit. And the chariot's going in there with 2 wounds, but I think, with impact hits and everything else, I should win that, be able to push them off the board. The real heartbreak is I declare a challenge against these guys, and he rolls exactly enough to stay on the board. This is reminiscent of my last game against High Elves. You've got to be kidding me. I think he rolled a 4 or a 5. Darn it, darn it, darn it. That was a ton of... darn it. So my chariot goes in, my impact hits kill 2, and then his archers fight next, and they do 2 wounds to my chariot and kill it. Wow, okay. Oh, High Elf turn 5, he's Phoenix Guard back up, his White Lions rally. His archers move out of line of sight, which I think they might have been anyway. We go to the magic phase, and whatever he has, I don't know, kills my Brave Shaman. So he lasted 5 turns this game, which is good for this tournament. Shooting picks off a Minotaur. We go to Beastman turn 6. I don't know what I was thinking. I took my Doombolt out of my Minotaur unit to face the archers, just get some easy points, because I was thinking I had another turn, that maybe he went first. So there's really no good reason for him to do that. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just moving away from my Minotaurs, who thankfully are no longer frenzied. Move away from his White Lion so that if he charges me, I can flee. The chariots on the left, I just say, hey, they're going to claim this token. And one thing I'll give credit to my opponent for, when his turn started, he measured it, and they were not within 3 inches of the token. And I said, here, they're claiming this, but I didn't measure it and make sure they were within distance. I think they're probably 4 inches away instead of 3 inches away, maybe 4.5 inches. Now, twice during this game, he forgot about a shooting phase, and after his turn was over, I let him go back and do a shooting phase then. And I'm thinking it was kind of because of that. I said, hey, I let you do that. Would you let me just move these guys an inch? That was my intention. I just wasn't careful. And he said, yeah, go ahead and do it. And that's 300 victory points. That was really cool of him to do that. Yeah, more images. We go to High Elf turn 6. He moves up as fast as he can with his White Lions so he can cast some spells. And if you notice, the chariots on the left have now been moved. They moved up during his turn. His Phoenix Guard I had a chariot around the Phoenix Guard. It charged a chariot. The chariot ran. And it's actually a pretty good move on his part, because the chariot went through the woods, and I think it even failed its dangerous terrain, but it didn't die, so that was nice. So at the end of the game, it looks like that. So especially with those 300 victory points for the token in the middle, it came out to a 12-8 victory for the Beastmen. And that was just a weird game, because when he was set up for a Phoenix Guard charge into the rear of my Doombolt unit, and then in hindsight, with the way his White Lions charged my Gorebull unit, if the Phoenix Guard would have made it, there's the game right there. I mean, he just, he would have had both units of Minotaurs, both my characters. Yeah, just like that. And at the same time, when I chased his White Lions and they didn't run off the board, even though they're only 5 or 6 inches away, that would have been the game. So just really weird, but it ended up being a 12-8 victory. And yeah, that was it. Hope you enjoyed it.